Welcome to the Tektronix Roadshow in the Nordics 2015 Part 4. Today we're going to focus on how you create an I and a Q signal, do modulation, high data rate, how you can use calibration to tweak the EVM numbers and how you analyze it. So it's going to be a short video, but this is the end result will be this. So we're going to, as I said, we're going to create an I and Q, we're going to analyze the I and the Q, we're going to do with 16 QAM and a symbol rate about 20 gigabaud. And for this test setup I used a 23 GHz scope, which probably going to be a little better with a high bandwidth scope. For those of you who have followed my earlier videos, you know that I normally do all this kind of signals in either serial express or in this case RF express. I'm going to show you how you do this. This is very simple. And I want to spend 1 minute on the setup. So right now I have a sync unit that synchronize two generators, and I will play one I and one Q at 50 giga sample, and I will send one of them, the I will send to channel 1 and the Q to channel 3 to the oscilloscope which I'm controlling, and I'm using a VSA software for the demodulation. So let's get started. Look at the RF Express. So in this case the RF Express is very simple. You go here, you select the IQ, you select the bass pattern. It's very good to have a little bit higher pattern, otherwise it's going to be very static. You select the modulation, and there's different modulation to be selected. You select the symbol rate, you set the filter settings, and I already did this for the ease of use, and I just send it to Source Express. So we go into Source Express. I'm sure you're familiar with this program here. Here I have them. And if you look at the setup, you can see that this is the master, and then this one is actually the slave. And as long as you did the sync once, it remembers it, so it's kind of easy to work with. So let's see, I have this I and Q, and let's see that we have I on the 1 and the Q on the 2, and it seems to be right, yeah. And let's start playing this one. So that means that the master is actually the one who controls all the playing. So let's play. It's playing a little bit, and let's go to the scope settings, and we have the remote desktop, and this is what we see from the beginning. So as you can see, I'm running the scope, and the scope is controlled by this software, and we need to set it up, this software, of course. So signal input is I and Q. We go for the vertical settings. We have the source is I is in channel 2, but Q is in channel 3, just to get 100 giga samples. We have this one. I normally go to acquisition length and put the length maximum to 1 microsecond. And acquisition bandwidth here, maybe 30 gig or something. Yes, That's it. So as long as you've done this, that's fine. And if you have seen my earlier videos in this one, you know that we can go here, we go constellation, we go to I diagram. Just add it. For those interested here, we can look at the spectrum. As this is an IQ, we're going to look at from negative to positive. So I go here and I set this up to center frequency 0 and a span maybe of 25 gig, and you can see the spectrum. Make it kind of useless anyway, so I remove that one. I go here, I'm going to test this one. First I go to 16 QAM, I put it at 20 gigabaud, 20 gigabit. And I remove this raised cosinus. That's basically it. I go to traces here because I want to see points here instead. And here we are. So the other thing we normally do is you change this to max symbol magnitude because it's a QAM, and analyze this time here, maybe 1024 symbols. I go to this one and change the scale a little bit here, and put the scale maybe to 3, just to see the eye opening. So you can see that this is an uncalibrated signal, and you can see that the RMS is EVM is like 8% and the peak is 2%. Some of you guys will realize that I'm not using full of the scope settings here. So if I go down here and maybe put it like -8, this is probably the guess I can get here. So we're looking at an RMS value about 7%. I did some calibrations first. I did what I know are competition, their limitations, as we have much more memory in our AWGs, and I will load that one, and I will use our one who's using more data for the compensation, and you can see the difference. So let's go back to Source Express. It's here, and I'm gonna load some cal files. So we'll stop playing. I go into the Q one, which is this one, right click, apply corrections, and I know it's a 2-2 correction, and this is, you know, the kind of corrections our competitors be able to do. Just apply it. I go to the I, apply correction, same way. You don't see it, but I see it, like this. Maybe I can do like this so you can see what I'm doing. And when I've done that, I go here for the Q corrected, and I double click here, and I go for the I corrected, and then I go back, and I just say play this one out. Let me see if I can do this one, and we go back to remote desktop here, and hopefully here you'll be able to see that there's kind of improvements. Oh, it looks like I have done the simplest mistake. I have the same kind of signal on both of the sources. So we go back to go back to Source Express here and see what did we do here. I go to Source Express, and oh, this one should be Q corrected. Q file, so like this, Q, and you can see that it's playing now, and we have something out here. And let's look at it and see if it's better. So we're down to 4.5%. The last thing I would do is change correction filters again, which have a 1 megahertz resolution in the band instead, to see if we can improve it a little bit more. So we go to Source Express and try to do this. Source Express. Source Express. Here we are. Load it. Source Express. And we're going to do this one so you can actually see what I'm doing this time. So I go for the Q waveform, apply corrections, and I have 22 fine. But this is the plot, and I apply this one. I could go to the I, apply corrections, and I have I fine, and open this one, and you can see that the frequency and magnitude of phase response is what we see, and I apply that one. I stop playing. I go for the Q corrected one. This is this one. Drag it over here, and I go to the first one, and I go to I corrected. Ping, just drag and drop. Should be I corrected 1. This is it, yeah. And then we go back, and we just play. Now I'm gonna move this one out, this one, and I'm gonna go to remote desktop, and this is the final thing we're gonna see. So you can see that the EVM is a little bit better, and you can see on the scope side over here the amplitude is lower. So if I just tweak it a little bit better, like this maybe, you can see I have an EVM of 4.1. So I gained a 0.5 EVM. Hope you enjoyed the video. If any questions, you know where to reach me. Thank you.